The Nameless Namekian, son of Katas or Katatsu, depending on which translation you're looking at, is a Namekian that traveled to Earth at a young age to escape the danger of his planet that was going on with rapid storms, as according to Guru. Now, he eventually tried to apply for the position to become the kami of Earth, but he was turned away due to the evil inside of him. So eventually he dispelled that evil, which ended up splitting into two different beings, a good and a bad half, which the bad half ended up becoming Demon King Piccolo, and the other half ended up becoming the kami and known as kami today. Now, there's a lot of speculations that, when Piccolo and kami in the current timeline, ends up merging back together, that they end up becoming, I guess, the Nameless Namekian, but that is not the case. I think that they're two different beings and entities, and there's several key points to look at with this, that they're not the same being as they was before, which is the reason why the name is still kind of like unknown, because they have forgotten the name when they split. So with that being said, let's get into it. So our first key point to this is that, one, which will make the current Piccolo not the Nameless Namekian from the past, is that, one, it also merged with Nell as well. So this is already one key factor that makes him a different person technically, because it's like another merger. Now, the other thing to this is that when you look at Piccolo, we gotta also remember that it was the original Demon King Piccolo that split with Kami. That Piccolo was destroyed by Goku, and he was pretty much reincarnated as the Piccolo that we know today, which we could say Piccolo Jr. Now, this Piccolo is still in essence Piccolo, but they're not the same person. So this is already changes thing already, because technically now that is not the same Piccolo from before, and for him to merge with Kami is pretty much creating another different type of being. And at the time of him merging with Kami, he already merged with Nell, so he's already different from that point. So now that brings us to another two key differences of the current Piccolo and the Nameless Namekian. But one of the biggest things too, what I want to talk to you about, is the whole concept of them merging together. Is not the same merger as in the form of them splitting from each other. And this is where things become different, because when they was merged together as the Nameless Namekian, I would say that it wasn't more of a merger. They was more of just that individual. That was just the person at that time. Whereas in them merging back together, Kami and Piccolo merging together, that one is more like a fusion than them actually joining together back as one in a sense. They're still joined together, but it's not the same, because technically I would say Kami is still somewhere in Piccolo, just like Nell. They're still kind of like living through him in a sense. In which another character that we've seen something like this was Majin Buu. The same way about Kid Buu and Fat Buu. Even when Fat Buu got upset and he created an Evil Buu, which is the Gray Buu, which is kind of like the same concept of like Kami and Piccolo in a sense, and them being, merged back together and becoming one again. But it kind of created a different character, which was Super Buu at the time. So it's kind of like similar to that. And so with Fat Buu being kind of removed at the time, everything was like changed to have him return back to his essence, being Kid Buu. And because Fat Buu was technically from the Grand Kaioshin, and that was affecting everything. So in a sense, it's kind of similar to that with Piccolo as well, in a different kind of sense. So at the time, if we were trying to compare these two, like I said, the Nameless Namekian was just an individual, whereas in the Piccolo now, it's technically more like a fusion, because Kami and Nell is still in there. Even though they're more assimilated into Piccolo, they're still kind of like a fusion, where it's like multiple people inside Piccolo right now, whereas in before, the Nameless Namekian was just that individual. It wasn't, you know, Kami and Piccolo at the time, because they didn't exist. There was just one person. So even though when they merged back together, they didn't technically become the Nameless Namekian, because they was not becoming an individual anymore. Kami is still around in there, and which is affecting Piccolo, and they may still be able, Kami can still probably come out, just like how Nell came out during the Namek saga to speak to, you know, Dende, to kind of like let him know that he's still there. So even then, they're still kind of like living through Piccolo, and is a difference. So that's it for this video. Drop a like, go into the comments, tell us what you think. Do you think the Nameless Namekian or the current Piccolo are kind of like the same as back to him becoming the Nameless Namekian, or they're different? Because these are all evidence to show that they're different people. They're not the same person. Even down to the current Piccolo right now, they're not the same person. So don't forget to hit the notification button, and we're out.